This is Slasher at MLG Vegas 2016. I'm with Andrew Rush, otherwise known as ZP. Day 2 is about to end with Complexity and Fnatic battling it out in the last spot. We do have Envious, FaZe, Cloud9 in the winners bracket semifinals. The winner of this match will be into tomorrow's playoffs. Are these the 4 teams that you expected to be going through at the very beginning?
Pretty much. I mean, all these teams have come in very strong in recent online competitions and recent live events like DreamHack, so I don't think any of the teams I've gotten through this far really comes as any sort of surprise.
What are your thoughts about the matches that we've seen so far on day 1, day 2, overall?
Overall, there's been a lot of very close matches. I've been fortunate enough to cast 3 of the closest series that we've seen here thus far. I feel like Overwatch tournaments have come a long way from the earlier days where you used to have, say, 1-2 dominant teams and then a lot of teams that weren't very close. But as time has gone on, in every Overwatch event, we've seen very close games that have been really, really exciting to watch.
The 2 headline matches we've had so far were Envious versus Fnatic and Cloud9 actually going down to FaZe when they seemed pretty confident before the day going in that would happen. Would you say that maybe that match was a little bit of a surprise to you?
It was a surprise. I mean, I expect C9 and FaZe, of course, have both gotten through. But you look at FaZe, they have a long history, as you well know, that they can punch against the very strongest teams in the game, but then they also disappoint and they lose the teams they shouldn't lose to. For FaZe, this is one of their better days where they were able to come out strong, catch C9 a bit off guard. And actually, again, as I mentioned on broadcast, it was a bit of old and new there where they brought out the Genji, the great effect in a meta that isn't so conducive to Genji for a lot of teams. But they also had times where they played the meta a little bit more and still got a lot of good value off it. So I thought FaZe looked very strong today.
I mean, Taimu comes in late. They suspend one game till today, so Envious played both their games today. It didn't really matter, and Envious is still in the semifinals.
Taimu has come a really, really long way. For those who might not know Taimu, going way back to early tournaments, he sort of had this reputation of sometimes disappearing in tournaments, not always coming in big, being more of an emotional player. And yet, as we've gotten into more live events, starting with Gamescom and going from there, Taimu has been ridiculously consistent. And Taimu went through hell to get to this event, by the way. I mean, he had a very, very long layover playing-wise. He's been sick, he has an ear infection, and yet when he finally gets to this event after that grueling of an experience, it was visa problems that sort of were the beginning of things. But when he finally gets to the event, he's smiling and he's playing very well with the rest of Envy. So it's a great showing for Taimu.
Are they still looking like the team to beat, or has someone sprung up ahead of them through all the games you've seen?
I think it was questionable up until the Fnatic game that just came out, where it was closer than the series actually made it out to be if you just look at the 2-0 score. But with Envy able to come in and comfortably take out Fnatic, I feel, to the degree that they did, I kind of feel like that puts Envy above the rest of the teams here. I don't think any other team could have done the Fnatic what Envy did. Now, as I say, this Complexity Fnatic is going on, so watch me be completely wrong. But I feel like just from that performance alone, it definitely makes Envy the favorite going into tomorrow.
So for those of you out there who don't see this until tomorrow night, if you had to pick one team leading up into tomorrow to the finals, who's going to come out the victor at the end of this?
Well, for now, I have to go for Envy. I mean, Envy has looked great. Clearly, they've had the most live experience, really, of any of the other teams here. And they also have a core that's been together for an incredibly long time. And you look back at that core, back when it was the IDD QD days before they were picked up, they were very strong back then. They're strong here today. And I just think overall, you look at experience, you look at recent performance, and you look at what Envy was able to do today, there's no reason to really discount Envy going into the final day tomorrow. But it is Overwatch. Upsets can and do happen for pretty much any reason.
Most teams are looking at actually Cloud9 as maybe the team right under Envy as the favorite, or even beyond, well, let's say, Fnatic, Complexity, or FaZe. After what you've seen, even though FaZe did win their head-to-head matchup, do you think that would be pretty accurate?
C9 is very good. There's no doubt about it. And C9, they have their own X factor. And when you look at a player like Surefour, in many people's eyes, one of the very best players in the game. I think the only other player that really gets referenced as much as Surefour in reference to that title would probably be Tavik. Both incredibly, exceptionally talented players. And for C9, they've gone through to the next day. And if they have a good day and Surefour has a great day, I mean, good things can happen for C9. They're not a team you count out at all, and with their new core and their new additions, with Rib, Mendo, and Rulf, they've been playing very well, and certainly it's been a better live performance from C9 when compared to their previous events that we've seen them at.
How does it feel kind of to see how Overwatch has grown, and then you as a caster switching over from Heroes earlier and as a player as well to now being here at MLG Vegas among the number of tournaments that you've done in the last few months.
It's been absolutely crazy. It's been a phenomenal experience. I mean, people knew Overwatch was going to be big a year ago. I don't think we ever expected it to get to this level this quickly. And I mean, there's really not much more than I can say. I mean, literally a year ago, I was casting $120 community tournaments in my bedroom. Now I'm here at MLG wearing a somewhat reasonable suit. I'm not going to say it's a great suit, but, it's somewhat reasonable. Here, surrounded by great people, great talent. Really couldn't ask for anything more. It's been a wonderful journey and made a lot of great experiences along the way, and it's just been the first year. Who knows where things go into the future?
I mean, was this always kind of the plan for you when Overwatch had started? I mean, we've talked a lot back then, but did you think that it would kind of get to this point?
Well, there was always a possibility. I just wanted to go into the game, do the best job I possibly could while casting, continually work to improve, and see where things go. And honestly, things went way quicker than expected. I mean, Overwatch, again, it went from like small tournaments to huge tournaments in a blink of an eye. And it's been crazy. But yeah, I mean, in the back of my head, there's always a possibility that could lead into this if I didn't suck and I did things properly. And, for now, I mean, so far so good. And it's just, I'm excited to see what the future holds.
As someone who's been on all the broadcast desks, so most of the broadcast desks so far and doing the casting and the analyst portion, is there something that you'd like to see more of or that you felt went pretty well at one event or the other that you'd like to see continue?
So I think there is a little bit of a tension, not just in Overwatch, but in all games, between how much time do you have for analysis on a desk versus how quickly do you get in the game. And the reality is that people want to see you get in the game very, very quickly. The problem is that Overwatch is a complicated game, and fully breaking down a single map, let alone an entire series, actually takes a lot of time. So I feel like it's still a learning process in figuring the best way to deliver analysis to people where you get the key points out. That is, goes in depth to a degree that both casual players and experts alike can go, wow, that's pretty good, while still doing it in a reasonable amount of time. Because Overwatch, again, and it's not just Overwatch, people go, why are you guys talking right now? Get to the next game. So there's definitely a tension there, and I don't know what the perfect answer is. But I know that got a little bit off base of what I'd like to see and not to see. But I do think analysis can be improved from where it is now, but it's complicated.
Now, when I talked to Huck earlier, he mentioned that there are some, and I've been outspoken in this as well, a lack of tools to use, including for broadcasters and their ability to break down matches, to analyze them, even to give data and statistics about what is happening and use that in your casting. Are there certain things and tools that you would like to see used to help you as a caster?
Well, yeah, I think there's a lot of things that can be done. I mean, whether it be cast-wise, analyst-wise, otherwise. Obviously, for an analyst, having a full array of stats and whatnot would be great. But all these things are coming. I mean, Blizzard has been very forthcoming saying, look, we want to improve everything here to give the growth of Overwatch Esports the best chance it has. And you look back to things like Overwatch World Cup, we were able to give you guys stats. It's just it was a situation where it was in a rougher state. Obviously, these tools have to be developed, and just like the competitive scene is growing, so is Overwatch in terms of adding on all these extra features that are going to be awesome. But I can tell you that just in my experiences in working with them, the people who work on Overwatch are very passionate. They are very aware of the concerns that people have. And I don't think there's a feature that you can think of that hasn't been suggested, thought over, and potentially coming in the future for Overwatch. So I think for those wanting extra features, just hang tight. I'm sure they'll be coming.
Well, that is good to hear. And Blizzard, if you're watching, I have a list up for all those features that I kind of want you to have. You may have saw it by now. Not sure. Well, thank you, Andrew. And lastly, I want to ask, you've been dubbed by some as the voice of Overwatch lately. And, how does that kind of make you feel after all the hard work you've been doing for a long time?
I think the thing for me, and I'm not trying to project some degree of insecurity here, but I'm always looking at myself in terms of how I can improve and do better. So I don't want to address any titles on myself, because anytime I get off a cast or desk or otherwise, I look back and go, man, I could have done this better. I could have done this other thing better. And I guess for me is that it's difficult to accept any sort of title like that. I know I love casting Overwatch. I love putting on the best performance I can, and I'm eternally grateful to all the people that have been following Overwatch this entire time and giving as much support and love as they have.
All right, well, thank you, ZP, and all those people out there love you. None more is me now. This is Slasher here at MLG Vegas 2016. Stay tuned to Yahoo Esports for coverage all weekend long.